Have you ever wondered what it's like to live in pitch black darkness? Imagine you're floating at the bottom of the sea, thousands of feet below the surface, and you can see absolutely nothing. But if you shined a flashlight here, you would be able to see some of the strangest creatures that live on the planet. You'll know just what we mean in a second because these deep-sea creatures are like nothing you've ever seen before, including a shark that takes cookie-shaped bites out of its victims. But let's get to that one later, and let's start with the frilled shark instead. Right off the bat, just looking at this creature will give you fuel for your nightmares. Do you see its weird shape? The frilled shark is known as a living fossil because of its primitive form and because it has not evolved for millions of years. This species is found in both the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans at depths as great as 3,000 feet. No one has ever seen a frilled shark eat, so we have no idea what its diet consists of. You'll be lucky if you ever saw one in your life, or rather, it might be your worst day. Frilled sharks have 300 triangular teeth arranged in 25 rows, and a single bite from them would be something you'd never forget. They can grow to 6 feet long and are believed to attack their prey like a snake. They might even be the inspiration behind sea serpents. As if snakes weren't bad enough already, imagine being at the bottom of the sea and seeing this thing swimming by you, waiting to swallow you whole. Thankfully, they possess no threat to humans because they live so far below the surface of the ocean. The only way to see them is if they get caught up through deep-sea fishing or if they swim to the surface. In 2007, a frilled shark was captured in Japan when it came to the surface, but it died only a few hours later. Is the frilled shark endangered? No one knows. There have been so few sightings that we have no clue how many of the species exist, and captured frilled sharks rarely live long enough for scientists to study. Next, we have the Viperfish. If you thought the frilled shark was nightmare fuel, well, you're in for a hell of a lot more. The Viperfish lives up to 9,000 feet below the surface in the tropical regions of the world's major oceans, and you'll probably be thankful it lives so far away when you learn more about it. Viperfish are cunning because instead of going to the prey, they bring the prey to themselves. They hang motionless in the water and start waving their lures over their heads like fishing poles. The prey doesn't even see what's coming. Since its fangs are transparent, they are invisible even in the light. The small prey is attracted to the organ like it's a fishing lure until they get trapped in the Viperfish's jaws. The fangs are so big, they don't even fit inside its mouth and instead curve all the way outside. When it closes its mouth, the edges come very close to its eyes. It uses these fangs to impale its prey, which happens to be mostly crustaceans and small fish. If the prey doesn't get lured by light, it just swims at them at high speeds. So if you're in the deep sea and you see a small light close to you, get away as fast as you can. A bite from these creatures is going to hurt. Scared? Don't worry, humans rarely come by them. Although sometimes they are caught by deep water trawlers, one viperfish was found in a trawler just back in December. Since they don't survive in captivity, we know very little about them. One thing we do know is that their bodies are covered in about 1,500 light organs. When touched, their whole body lights up. And next, we have a creature that gets its name from something you can find in kitchens everywhere. We're talking about the dinner plate jellyfish, of course. But don't be fooled by its name, because this creature's anything but a meal. It does something that no other jellyfish does. It hunts for its foods, and its dietary choices will make your jaw drop. Its prey includes both zooplankton and other jellyfish. So basically, as you go deep into the sea, you'll find cannibalistic jellyfish as well. Isn't that nice? Dinner plate jellyfish are found in the waters of Monterey Bay, California, as well as near Hawaii. They live anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 feet below the surface of the ocean. In fact, before the Okeanos explorer found a dinner plate jellyfish in the Musician's Seamounts, which are north of Hawaii, very little was known about the species. For the next deep-sea creature, we have to ask you the question: what happens if you combine a spider and a crab? You get a creature that you would hate to have in your home. The giant spider crab combines the worst of both worlds and can grow to have a leg span of 12 feet, a body that's 16 feet long and weighs 40 pounds. You wouldn't want this creature anywhere near you, except at the dinner table, it seems. Because these spider crabs, which are found 500 to 1,000 feet under the Suruga Bay off the coast of Japan, are considered a delicacy in the region. But don't worry, you don't have to go all the way to Japan. If you're in Australia, that works just fine, because each year, tens of thousands of them migrate to Port Phillip Bay. Humans aren't the only creatures that like feasting on these creatures, though. They're prey for many bigger animals, including squid. They're not so scary now, huh? To protect themselves when young, they sometimes decorate their often orange and white shells with kelp and sea sponges. If they succeed, the crabs can live for as long as 100 years, and they'll eat just about anything they can get their pincers on. The spider crab turned out to be surprisingly wholesome, but don't worry if you're here for the creeps. Because the cookie cutter shark is anything but wholesome. Despite what its name suggests, its feeding methods will haunt you for weeks. This species of shark prefers warmer waters and lives underwater at a depth of 1,000 feet. Before they got the name cookie cutter sharks, they were called cigar sharks because their bodies are long and cylindrical like a cigar. They also have a dark collar around their gills that look like the band of a cigar. Like many other deep-sea creatures, the cookie cutter shark is also glow-in-the-dark. The bioluminescent light organs make them appear dark from above and light from below. Researchers think that the dark bar, combined with the illuminated main body, tricks prey into thinking a small fish is above them. But you must be wondering why exactly the cookie cutter shark's name was changed. It's all in the mouth, people, and it's terrifying. If you're faint of heart, you should definitely not look up in its mouth. The shark uses their circular mouths to bite cookie-shaped chunks of flesh from their victims. They're parasites, so they don't actually kill their prey. But you would definitely not want one of these creatures attached to you. While that is unlikely to happen, if you go out for a swim at night in tropical waters, one of them might be lurking just beneath the surface waiting to rip out a chunk of meat. There have been recorded attacks in Hawaii, so if you're on vacation, you should definitely keep the late-night swims to a minimum. And next, we have the northern wolffish, which can be found up to 5,000 feet below the North Atlantic. If you're thinking, doesn't it get freezing cold down there? Well, you'd be right, but these creatures have a unique mechanism to deal with that. They have a unique compound running through their blood that acts as an antifreeze. These creatures can grow up to 5 feet long and can weigh as much as 40 pounds. They're nasty predators. They use their eel-like bodies, large teeth and big heads and powerful jaws to eat hard-bodied prey such as sea urchins, crabs, and snails. And what's worse, since they can be found at depths as shallow as 300 feet, you might actually run into one. Wolffish bites aren't as uncommon as you think. While they're not usually aggressive towards humans, they will bite if reeled in while fishing or if one of them feels threatened by a diver. And then, the fishing or diving trip won't be a fun time anymore. The deep sea is still a place we know very little about, and we know next to nothing about a lot of the creatures who live there. But one thing we do know for sure is that it's not a place where you would want to go.